Hey y'all, it's Silly Girl Blue back with another video. Today we're going to talk about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 3, specifically Jessie's cheating scandal. Let's get into it. There is something to me that is so frustrating about the double standards set for men and women. At the end of Season 2, we were left with a cliffhanger where a dusty-ass dude named Marciano from Vanderpump Rules The Reboot told Layla that he had sex with Jessie. Now, mind you, Jessie is married and her husband's name is Jordan. The beginning of Season 3 was Layla confronting Jessie about this rumor. I think to everyone's surprise, Jessie admitted that she kissed Marciano twice and then continued to have an emotional affair with him afterwards. She said that she had told her husband and that he has known for 6 months and that they were trying to work through it. Now, I totally forgot to preface this by saying that Jessie told Layla her and Jordan, Jessie's husband, were going through a rough patch before the cheating happened and that they were actually on a break when she kissed Marciano. Not that it makes it any better, but I guess it's a little bit of clarification there on Jessie's part. However, Jessie swears that she did not have sex with Marciano. So Layla is like, let's call him. They call him to confront him. And when Layla tells Marciano that Jessie is denying that they had sex, he said, I knew she would do that, and doubles down on it. Then Jessie jumps in saying, come on, that never happened. It seems like she's almost trying to convince him that it didn't happen. And he's just not getting convinced, obviously, because he would know the truth. Not to mention, at the start of the call, Jessie said, tell him I said we didn't have sex, but I admitted to everything else. That's kind of like a paraphrase of what she said. But that sentence made me wonder what she meant by I admitted to everything else. Is she implying that there was something she didn't admit to? If she admitted everything, wouldn't she just say, tell him I admitted everything? Everything else means there was something you didn't admit, So it's just a little bit interesting there. From the sounds of Jessie's further explanation of what happened with Marciano, it sounds like he was drunk. He took a freaking Cialis, probably because he's on coke too, and so he can't even get hard. And he had cum in his shorts the next morning. But Jessie tells him nothing happened. So it's just kind of weird to me because it's almost like he literally doesn't have a recollection of the night. So he's thinking that they had sex, but Jessie's like, we didn't. And if he was even a little bit drunk, she could totally get away with gaslighting him like that. But yeah, it's just weird because it seems like he was drunk and almost remembers things faintly, but Jessie is just denying it completely. When Jessie tells Macy and Michaela about her affair, this, of course, is annoying because Macy and Michaela are immediately hypocritical. They tell Jessie, everybody makes mistakes and that, they don't think any less of her. Yet, whenever the men do something that could be considered disrespectful, they immediately jump down their throats and hate on them. Like when Zach and Jen were struggling because Zach obviously didn't want his wife being danced on by other men, which is completely understandable and valid, by the way. The girls were literally telling Jen to divorce him. And they have kids and a family. Or how Jessie goes on after all this to accuse her partner, Jordan, of emotional abuse because he had to check her a couple times and she was being disrespectful towards him, which we know she was because of how we saw the way that she's acted this entire season. It's funny because at the beginning of the season, Jessie says to Jordan, it's my fault. And even though we're having struggles, these are my issues. And she's like, I know I'm the problem here, which she swiftly changes halfway through the season to this is all Jordan's fault because he emotionally abuses me. The thing is, though, that's not the real reason that she cheated, if she thinks that. If she was being truly honest with herself, she would realize that she cheated because her man is not the breadwinner. Seriously, there's a reason why men are supposed to be the providers because women providers cheat and disrespect their entire family. Imagine if the roles were reversed because girls are always trying to do that. Jessie had a whole career, I don't know what Jordan was doing, but Jessie had a whole career. She met Jordan. Jordan's like, I want to do my thing. I want to be famous. And Jessie's like, okay, I'm going to support you through that. I'm going to stay at home and support you through that. And then he goes and he cheats on her with somebody from work. Could you actually imagine that? And Jessie being like, I do all the laundry, I do all the cooking, everything, and I make all the money. That's a lie. Okay, it's just a lie because who's watching the kids when she's at work? it's obviously Jordan. So she's completely disrespecting his role as a stay-at-home dad, which happens a lot on the flip, where men don't understand the stay-at-home mom's role. Like, she's literally doing that. She's upset because she has to come home and be a parent after going to work. But it's like, that's what you signed up for when you were like, I want to be a businesswoman and a mother. That's not Jordan's. So Jordan picks up his end. And then I guess Jessie just thinks when she gets home, she doesn't have to do anything. And that when he maybe gets upset with her for being lazy or not doing enough, then it's abuse to her. With these girls, whenever a man tries to express his feelings, he's immediately like a villain. But Jessie can full on cheat and it's just totally okay with them. That's something that really pisses me off about fake religious liberal bitches like Michaela and Maisie. It's the same reason Michaela's relationship is lacking in intimacy, because her husband is a simp, and what she actually wants, but wouldn't be able to handle because she's a bitch, is a real man who sticks up to her and tells her that she's a bitch. A man who provides and demands respect, because contrary to popular belief, girls actually like that. Obviously to a certain point before it becomes abusive. But I also don't think Jessie's husband was emotionally abusing her. I think he was relentlessly trying to get his point across to an incredibly selfish and emotionally disturbed woman. In the mix of all this going on, Jessie decided to search through her messages with Marciano, which, like, first off, why do you even still have all of the messages? Like, she's a freaking weirdo for that. Anyways, she does this to try and prove that she didn't have sex with him. And she starts reading out extremely inappropriate messages with her husband right behind her. And surprisingly enough, actually, a lot of the girls were also uncomfortable in this moment. In my opinion, I think the messages actually did the opposite of what she meant for them to do, because the one said something along the lines of that Marciano was saying he needs redemption, which Jessie tries to say he needs redemption because he missed out. Obviously, he didn't do it. But to me, it sounds more like he did it, but he was either drunk, it wasn't all the way good because he was drunk, so he wants redemption to do it better. There was also a message that said, I can't stop thinking about your vagina, which, like, why would he be thinking about it if he's never touched it or been in it? Wouldn't he say something more like, I'm daydreaming about seeing your vagina, or I just want to see it, I want to touch it? To me, him saying, like, I can't stop thinking about it means like he was in it, or at least touched it or felt it or smelt it. I don't know. So yeah, it definitely did not clear her name for me. Jessie also goes to see a therapist in the episodes and talks about how she basically did all of this as a way to one-up Demi, or to feel prettier than Demi, because Marciano was also trying to get with Demi. Which, to me, this is so insecure and fucked up that you are going to destroy your family, destroy your kids' lives because you're jealous of your friend who's a bitch. Marciano, though, we have to give the dude his props. He is slick at playing both of these bitches, because pitting one against the other and then keeping them both attached to him, like, he's got his game down. Call him Barney Stinson, if you will. I also think Jessie and Demi are just both completely ridiculous for believing that he's even into them. And newsflash, Marciano is into anybody that is willing to fuck him. And the reason he acts sad that Jessie ghosted him is because it's just another tactic to keep Jessie on the hook. To make matters even worse, in her cheating scandal, Jessie invites Marciano to her hotel room and asks him to do a lie detector test to prove that they didn't have sex. He, of course, says yes to doing this, and they do it. And then you won't even believe what the hell she does next. She invites him out to dinner with all the girls to get the results. And she didn't tell her husband that she was doing this. All the girls besides Taylor are acting like, oh, it's totally fine that Jessie is doing this because her and Jordan are on a break. But to me, that doesn't change the fact that it's extremely disrespectful and tone deaf for her to do that. To say you're working on your relationship and then inviting your affair partner like a giddy teenager to hang out with you seems like the complete opposite of working things out. Now, the lie detector results come back. They did pass on the sex part, but Jessie basically failed pretty much every other question, including, did you have other sexual contact besides the 2 kisses? And she failed if she was lying about any of the situation with Marciano. So basically, she's lying about everything. They probably did do everything but sex. And she's just like, we didn't have sex. Like it makes it better. You know that she's a bullshit bitch too, because when she calls her husband after getting the results, she conveniently tells Jordan that she passed. Then, he goes on to get upset that she was at dinner with Marciano without telling him and that she's basically just super selfish. Next up is the absolutely disgusting behavior by Macy and Michaela. This just continues throughout the whole season. Jordan calls everyone to his house so that he can express his side of his feelings and so that he can get his wife's friends to be on his side in helping fix their marriage. And Macy is literally holding back laughter while Jordan is breaking down in tears about how hurt he was after getting cheated on, which is especially disgusting coming from Macy because she always tells her stupid ass sob story about when she got cheated on while pregnant. Women like Macy never want to look in the mirror and see their own flaws. Maybe if Jessie had a reason to cheat, then Macy's boyfriend also had a reason to cheat on her too. But she's not ready for that conversation. At the end of this whole shit show, Jordan sits down with Jessie and voices how she made him feel, that it was disrespectful for her to have dinner with Marciano, which is something I totally agree with him on. But of course, Jessie doesn't take any accountability or apologize because obviously she thinks that she's in the right here for some reason. Of course, cue the waterworks. She starts to cry when Jordan tells her that her behavior is disgusting. And at the end of the convo, Jordan tells her that there's no reason for her to contact Marciano ever again. And Jessie fucking says that she can't promise she won't talk to him again, which that really set me off, y'all. What do you mean? Imagine being Jordan. Imagine your partner cheats and you're trying to work it out because you have a family and you love your family and you love your life and you want to figure out where this all went wrong. But your partner refuses to cut that person off. Like that is seriously, I couldn't even imagine the pain and the hurt. It's like constantly running, chasing for scraps. And Jessie is all about, I'm getting abused. And she doesn't even realize she's the one emotionally abusing her husband. I don't like Jessie, Macy, or Michaela because all of them live in complete fucking delusion, victim land, and it's just really disgusting after a certain point. They treat their husbands like they're dumb and stupid and disrespect them without even realizing it or caring. Men are people too, and it's not okay to ignore them. There was an episode where Michaela just is completely ignoring her husband. He's talking to her. She just ignores him because she's upset. Like, tell me you're a fucking bitch. You should not be disrespecting your husband in public, period, ever. You can talk about those things in private. You're a united front at all times. And you wonder why your relationship isn't working. Look at yourself in the mirror and see how horrible of a person you really are. But what I was saying, it's not okay to ignore men, to disregard their feelings, to talk down to them, or to cheat on them. And of course, it's not okay for a husband to do that to his wife either. But a man holding you accountable for your missteps is not abuse. It's love. If you are that ashamed of your actions that when your husband has to check you, you call it abuse, then you may have an accountability problem. Let me know what your thoughts are on this mess. And if you watch this and if you were just like disgusted by the way they tried to make it like a thing that was okay. Because to me, it felt like the show was trying to be like, oh, this is normal life. No, it's not. And Jessie is completely in the wrong and honestly really needs to look in the mirror because she's a horrible person in my eyes. It was great talking to you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.